Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of Let's Talk. I am your host, author Dre Lett. Thank you for joining me for another fun-filled, exciting week where we inform, inspire, and motivate. Yes. So come on in the room, have a seat, and join us as we Let's Talk. So every week, I like to always recognize my live virtual audience that's always tuned in with me. I'm so excited to have them. They make what I do so much fun and refreshing and rewarding. So I want to acknowledge some of them as we look through here. So if you are new, please don't be shy. Definitely tell me what city you're representing, your name, and the whole nine, and I will definitely give you a shout out. So we have Sean. Hey, Sean. She is checking in. She says, good evening. Mommy in Love in Las Vegas is watching. Hey, hey. Rockin' Richard Houston. He says, hello, everyone. I'm doing a prom. Told them to stay inside until my show goes off. Haha. I know that's right. Thank you for joining, Rockin' Richard Houston. Hubby is watching as well. As you guys know, he says he's watching from the man cave. Love your support, babe. Thank you so much. And let's see who we got over here watching. Yeah, I see some of you guys a little bit shy. Don't want to say anything, but it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So for those of you that are watching this in a pre-recorded form, if you ever want to join my live virtual studio audience, just come on Facebook and go to my page, Let's Talk with author Dre Lett. And there you can chime in, ask questions, and join in on the fun, okay? So tonight, my hot topics is short because one of my loyal viewers, she's one of my guests for tonight. So I'm super excited. So I shortened down my hot topics because we've got a lot to talk about with her and my other guests. So coming up, as I just said, tonight we have comedian and executive producer Mike Merrill. He's going to be on a little bit later to tell us about his journey as a comedian and an executive producer. We also have one of my viewers that she's so super smart and she is just amazing. Phlebotomist instructor Carla Burney. She is going to be on in just a couple minutes here. I'm super excited to have her. So in hot topics, oh my goodness, you guys. So before I came on, I always check out the news just before I come on, just to see if there's any last minute earth-shattering type things. So this is some positive news, right? So before I came on, I saw the world news that the city that had the most COVID cases, the largest influx in the beginning, that is, was San Francisco, the Bay Area. So today they are reporting that the San Francisco General Hospital has zero COVID cases. I'm so excited for them. Way to go. They attribute it to having sending out vaccinations. They're the most vaccinated city. Thus, they have zero hospitalizations. So that's outstanding. That is wonderful. If you guys don't believe in it, just take another look at it. Like I tell you guys all the time, for me, I looked at, ventilator possibly, or I took my vaccination. So knock on wood, no issues, no nothing. So you guys go get vaccinated. So also want to share this with you. A COVID-19 booster vaccine, when authorized, will likely be needed within a year following initial vaccinations, according to Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He said this on Wednesday. He said, quote, I believe it likely will be within a year, that he said at an interview earlier this week. He says, quote, we know that the vaccine durability and the efficiency lasts at least 6 months and likely considerably more. But I think we will most certainly require a booster sometime within a year or so after getting the primary, Fauci said. So just get ready. The way I look at it, some people have their 2 cents about it. The way I look at it is, hey, it's just like the flu shot. It's just like any other vaccination. You got to stay on top of it. So if it means that I can get to be vaccinated and go on a vacation and hang out with friends and family and loved ones, I'm doing it. So you guys go get vaccinated. Go get vaccinated. So, without further ado, let me give my guest a proper introduction. Let me just share my screen so I can introduce her. This is good stuff. Speaking of medical things of that nature, I want to share with you guys. This is my guest is coming up. Her name is Carla Burney. She is a Georgia native. She attended Atlanta College of Medical and Dental Career as a medical assistant. She is certified phlebotomist, ASCP, American Society of Clinical Pathologists. Carla works with organizations such as the Centers for Disease Control, also known as the CDC. She's also worked with Emory University and other large companies. Some of Carla's responsibilities are within the clinical research field. Carla is an instructor at Omega One Mega Institute, where she works under CEO and director Mrs. Thompson. Everyone, please welcome to the virtual stage Miss Carla Bruni. Let's bring her on in. Hey, lady, how are you? Uh-oh, I think you're muted. Your mic is muted. You're unmuted on this end. Just see if you can hit the there you go. How are you
Wonderful.
doing?
Great. Thank you for having me aboard on your wonderful show.
Oh
I
my
am so
goodness.
honored.
Oh my goodness, it is my pleasure. You and I we talk off and on
Yes,
about what you do for a living, and I said, I want to have you on so we can, get some scoop on what it all entails, what the career is like, what the schooling is like, and so I'm just so honored that you are on this show to spend some time with us, audience. You guys, make sure you funnel in the questions, and I'll make sure to ask Miss Carla Bruni later on. So, I used to say, are you washing your hands and wearing your mask, staying 6 feet apart? Well, now today we don't got to do all that to some degree, right? So
right.
I'll just say you're being cautious, right?
Absolutely. Always.
I
It's
know
mandatory in the medical field.
that's right. Oh, yeah, that is absolutely right. Oh, my goodness. So let's get into this interview. Let's talk, girl. Let's talk. So help us understand, what does phlebotomy mean exactly, Carla?
Definitely. Phlebotomy, PHLE, means vein, and OTOMY means incision. So basically, the person is making an incision in the vein.
Wow. That's deep. That's really deep how you explain that. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Wow. So what is the purpose of doing blood draws? Now, you hear about people saying, "Oh, I got to go get my blood drawn for this and that." Help us understand exactly what does that consist of?
Absolutely. Collecting blood specimens is another diagnostic procedure in treating a patient, for it's knowing exactly what is wrong with you, what type of illness you have. That way, your physician know exactly how to treat you. And once again, blood is the best way to find out exactly what is going on with your medical condition. Blood is the most accurate data that you can receive for as a diagnostic, you know, diagnose from your physician. It's the best way to identify what is going on inside your body.
Wow. So all these other tests, going back to the COVID, the nose and the throat, the blood, it's what the purest form to tell what is going on in terms of COVID or
Exactly.
oh
It's the
my goodness.
most accurate.
Oh my goodness. I think
Yes.
that's amazing. So, when we've all had to give blood, right? And I know when I go, I'm a chicken. I just turn my head and I don't want to see it. And so what is it all about when they say ball of fist? Why you got a ball of fist and hold your arm a certain way? Help us understand that.
Sure. It increased circulation. So when we tie the tourniquet on your arm, it increased the blood flow, which will enhance your vein. It will expand it. So in other words, it gives a better um, expansion. We can find your vein much quicker and much better,
Oh,
more visible.
okay. Okay, that makes sense. Because I have those veins, they call them, what do they call, rolling veins? They'll move on you, dick, duck, and die.
Yes, indeed. Well,
So
an expert can hold those veins down and can get it much better.
So you can
Absolutely.
find it. Wow, that's amazing. And just to have that gift, to be able to locate a vein and get it and get the blood out and get as many vials as you need. I think that's amazing, that in itself in the medical field. So why is it necessary to have safety organizations like OSHA, JHACO, and HIPAA and things like that?
Absolutely. It's for our safety. OSHA ensures that we, as the employees, are in a safe environment. That's their job, to check to make sure, like when they go around, check the needle disposal, make sure it's not overflowing, make sure that when they walk through the hallways, everything is spacious, clean,
Mm.
and you have your privacy for as your medical records. That's their job. So it's a plus for our safety, keep
Oh,
us healthy.
and that makes,
Absolutely.
especially in the case of, some patients that may have AIDS or infectious disease in their blood. I can see how that's very important to make sure you guys are safe. Oh my gosh. So help us understand. You always hear about these blood-borne pathogens, going back to viruses and so forth. What exactly does that entail?
Absolutely. Being a healthcare worker, you have to make sure that you wear your PPE garments, which is like your gloves, your mask, lab jacket if necessary, to protect you from bodily fluids. And blood-borne pathogens are mainly the infection organism that you will receive from like blood samples, or like say from a needle stick. So if you're in direct contact with a patient, especially my field, phlebotomist, laboratory assistant, it's vital that you receive your hepatitis shots. That's the purpose, because God forbid if you're stuck by an infectious needle, you will have to fill out an incident report, go immediately to emergency room, have your blood drawn, have the patient blood drawn. So that's the purpose, um, to protect yourself. And bloodborne pathogens, that's the reason why, as a healthcare worker, you have to cover, have to wear safety gear
Oh
to
my
protect
goodness.
you from harmful infectious microorganisms that cause diseases.
So basically, your line of work can be dangerous as well, and you got to know what you're doing, because if you don't,
Absolutely.
oh my goodness. So that's
Absolutely.
considered a frontline worker, I would imagine, with all things that are going on right now, right?
Right.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So name some of the joys and benefits and the professionalism of this is a tongue tire for me, but phlebotomist and laboratory assistant. What are some of the great things that you love about it?
Oh, you said that perfectly, Drina.
Oh,
Perfectly.
thank you. Look, I practice.
Yes, indeed. Well, the best joy that I receive, it is a pleasure that I am helping a person in their medical treatment. And most of all, it's knowledge for myself as well. Say, like if a patient come in, they're having headaches, say like migraine, or, pain on their side. When between that 5 minutes while interacting with them, collecting blood samples and checking their identification, which is urgent, very important. We also have small conversations, and it's good that I receive knowledge from them. That way, as a healthcare worker myself, I know which symptoms to watch out for.
Okay.
When you go home and you feel a pain on your side, you kind of remember, oh, this patient stated they had pain on their side. So like when I see my doctor, that give me heads up as well. But
Mm,
also, I just love making patients happy, and especially with kids. Kids are my heart. It's so hard to collect blood from children. You have to be an experienced, skilled phlebotomist to do this.
I can imagine, because if they are afraid of needles and they're squirming and oh my goodness, you're right. I didn't even think about little kids, how you got to get blood. And wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So Carla, tell me all about the Omega School. I want to show the viewers this picture of the school that you are an instructor at. So let me bring up this slide so everybody can see this. And you've been I think you've been doing this for quite some time. So let me go back so everybody can see this amazing picture.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
Yes, so tell us what's that all about in terms of Omega 1 Institute, and tell us what these pictures are about.
Definitely. This picture in the center is the CEO and director, Miss C. Thompson. She is wonderful. She has been in the medical field for over 25 years, and she has taught at institutions. She's well established, very educated, and this is a new school. So the best thing about Omega One Medical Institute is that we give students hand on hand, intense training while giving them personal attention,
Wow.
which is hard to do at a university. A university, is much larger. You do not get that personal one-on-one contact as you will with a smaller setting. So that means the students are more relaxed. They have more free time to interact with each other. And any questions, we're always there to answer them, answer any questions that are needed to be addressed.
Oh wow, that's so cool. You're right. The smaller, the more effective you can learn. So is that you over to the left at the podium, Miss Instructor?
Yes, indeed. On your top left, that's me in the middle with the panel that has the initials OOMI for Omega One Medical Institute.
I
And
love.
those was one of the students. The school has been established since 2019. It's a new, wonderful school, but we always pass all of the accreditations. The school, once again, is accredited.
Oh, I love.
Absolutely. And also about Omega One Medical Institute is when the students leave, they are debt free. We make sure that they have a payment plan that's affordable, whether they have to receive grants or what have you. But it's good to know when you leave your school that you are debt free
I love
in a
it.
new career. Absolutely.
Now, how
So
long?
anyway,
I'm
yes,
sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say, how long does it normally take to get through, to get certified, and things of that nature?
it varies. The phlebotomy course is more intense. It only takes, a few weeks, less than a month. It varies on the student. The medical assistant, that could range from 4 to 6 months. And once again, the students are welcome to return back anytime for as if they have any questions regarding anything that's on their mind or their skills. We're always reiterating with them. We're um, keep a close contact with them. Also, keep involved to know what jobs they have landed. I mean, absolutely. My students, the first ones at the top left, already has been working at a family medical center. I believe one is already at Medical American Red Cross. The field is wide known. That's the best thing about being a phlebotomist or a medical assistant. You can work in any specialty from cardiac care, OBGYN, um, diabetes clinic, you name it. The sky's the limit.
I love it. I love it. So it's a great career opportunity, something you can get involved in. You guys provide assistance to where you'll be debt free. I mean, right now going through the pandemic, a lot of people had to make a lot of different career changes. And, this is definitely one area that the viewers should definitely look into if you have adult children and so forth. This is awesome. I love it. I love it. So down there below on the far left, so you guys actually you teach them, and they practice on one another on how to draw blood, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's the best training. The
Okay.
best training.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
you know what the patient is exactly going through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a difference between classroom. When you practice on the dummy is not saying anything. But
Yeah.
when you actually practice on a human, now you're getting the real life skill. And that's what we address, real life skills.
Mm. I love it. That is amazing. That's awesome, Carla. And so please tell the viewers, how many years have you been in this profession? So that's why they asked you to be an instructor. How many years have you been doing this?
Oh my goodness, I have been in my field for over 25 years, from a medical assistant, nursing assistant, in clinical research, specimen processing, front desk medical, you name it. I have pretty much done all of the technical aspects of
Oh,
the laboratory.
that is amazing, girl. That's why I asked you to come on, because it's just so fascinating to talk to different people about their professions, why they do it, what they can give back, and the whole intent was, to have you on to inform so people can have an understanding of what's it about, and if they want to make a career choice. I love it. I love it. Good stuff. So I'm going to put up the information as we continue to talk here of Carla's contact information, the medical school, if you want to get in touch with them in terms of how do you enroll, if you're in the local Georgia area. And Carla, I would imagine that if somebody was watching from New York, Texas, or California, there's probably institutes all over the United States that offer similar training, correct?
Correct. Correct. Make sure whichever school a person wants to invest in and take the time to learn that course, that school is accredited. That's the key.
Oh,
That's the thing. Make
yeah.
sure that school is accredited by the state,
Mm-hmm.
because you do not want to waste your money and come to find out the school has not passed all of the state regulations.
Oh my goodness, that's a good point. Oh, girl, yes, that is a good point. Definitely, definitely. So, viewers, you guys have any questions? Let me look through here to see what they may want to ask you, Miss Carla. And while I'm looking here, I just want to share with I've got something that I want to recognize Carla for, you guys. So, Carla, she is a adult roller skater with my husband and I. She has been skating for many years, and Carla is so special to the skate world because, you guys, what she does, she has a heart of gold. She on Facebook, on social media, she goes out there, she makes sure. Now, there's thousands and thousands of adult skaters all over the United States, all over the world. She makes sure, you guys hear me when I say this, she makes sure that she acknowledges every skater, whether it's a birthday, a wedding, a baby born, unfortunately, a loved one that's passed on. She does it, and she puts a lot of time into it. And every skate party, every skate function, she's taking the picture. She is the official auntie, mother hen of the skate world, and we love you
Thank you.
so much for that. I mean, she's super smart, and she's just out there just making us all feel special. It's nothing like opening up your social media and you see somebody's birthday and you go, "Oops, I forgot it was such and such." But Carla, make sure you know she's right there. So we love you, girl. I want to formally say thank you, and we love you for keeping us all together and being on top of that. Being on top of that.
I love you all so much. You all keep me going. You all are my skate family. You have no idea what you all mean to me. It just like I motivate you all, it comes right back to me.
Oh,
Thousand
absolutely.
plus. Yes.
Absolutely. So y'all don't be shy. Come on and ask some of these questions. I'm going through the comments, Carla. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, I said it earlier, Carla is a huge viewer. She's always on every week. When
Yes.
y'all ever hear me say, "Hey, Carla, hey, girl," that's her. So I just thought it would be wonderful. She fits right within the inform, inspire, motivate. So I want her to come on. Okay, so here's a question from Sean, Carla. She says, "I have small veins. How do people train to poke people like me?" Ooh, that's a good question.
No problem. Sean, the best route is using a butterfly. And I'm pretty sure anyone who has been to the doctor have noticed the lab technician or phlebotomist pull out this little funny looking needle that kind of have flaps or what we call wings. That's why it's named the butterfly.
Mm,
And just have that technician to tie on the tourniquet, not too tight, because you do not want the blood to cause hemolysis, which means it will mess up your test results.
mm.
So you have to make sure a good phlebotomist knows exactly what to do. But basically, if the person has small veins, just use the butterfly, and hopefully you will have better results, and it should be less painful as well.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely. That's the key. Just use a better equipment, which we call the butterfly, a smaller needle.
Oh, okay. Okay. And Richard wants to know, how do you know exactly how or where to find a vein? That's his question.
Definitely. You will have to be an experienced phlebotomist to know what a good vein feels like. It feels like spongy, and we look for the size, condition, and location. So
Mm,
that's why most of the time we're looking in the middle because it's an easy access. But of course, everyone is different. If you have better veins in your hand, then the technician will go there.
mm,
But once again, the best way to find a good vein is just to keep what we call palpating. You touch the skin gently and
mm.
just keep feeling. So
Oh,
that's the key as a phlebotomist. It's in the touch and the feel. We know exactly what a good vein feels like.
so it's basically a gift and a talent because you got to know where to find it and is it a good thing? Wow, that's amazing. I love it. That's amazing. And another thing I want to acknowledge you on just being on the front line and just having that talent and that gift because without people like you, people wouldn't know, if they got sicknesses, illnesses, because like you said, you got to look at the blood. So we need this profession, definitely. Big ups to you, Carla. So if anybody wanted to get in touch with you or the director of school, please go ahead and formally share the information scrolling down at the bottom if they want to get into the field. If you're in the Georgia area, I'll let you say that, Carla.
Absolutely. Any questions, my Facebook friends, please contact me on Facebook through the messenger. I will be glad to answer any questions concerning the phlebotomy field and also Omega 1 Teach medical assistance as well. But contact the school. Once again, the reading is below the screen, but I will give you the number. The contact number to Omega 1 Medical Institute is 770-679-1147, and the school is located in Conyers, Georgia. The address is 2434 Wall Street, Suite B, Conyers, Georgia, 30013. Once again, any questions, feel free to contact me on Facebook, and I will be so glad to answer any questions that you need to have addressed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Oh, we got one last question from one of the producers, Mr. Mark.
Hi, Mr. Mark. Good to see you. Mr. Smooth Slider. Yes.
He said, he is so silly. He said, is it really necessary for them to keep smacking your arm over and over while trying to find the vein? So silly.
Oh my goodness. That's cruel. I'm letting you know. Tell Mark that is cruel for them to do
Okay.
that to you.
So they shouldn't be
No,
doing that.
no. They are abusing him. No.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Oh
thank
my goodness.
you.
No. It should not. And I know, looking at Mark, his arm is muscular. No, no.
That
That's
ain't
abuse. That's abuse. Tell him to ask for another technician. That's what
he
he needs to do.
said LOL.
Please,
Absolutely.
please, no. It should be a easy no. That's like back in the old days, maybe you had an older phlebotomist to, feel like they're beating on you.
Oh,
No, it does not take all of that.
just ask for another one. Yeah, I know that's right.
No,
But
and word for the wise. If a person does not get you the second stick,
mm,
ask for the supervisor. Ask
oh,
for the supervisor. You should
wow.
not be tortured not like that. No,
Ooh, I never knew that. Okay,
no. If
because
the person cannot get you on the second try, ask for the supervisor.
that's some good information because that's happened to me. They stuck me 3 and 4 times. Okay, wow. Well, thank you for that, Carla. You are amazing. You are welcome to come back here anytime. I thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk and sharing your knowledge. And thank you for being a frontline worker. And thank you for being the auntie mother hen of the skate world. We love
Yes,
you, girl. Stay safe, and I hope to see you soon.
absolutely. My honor and pleasure to be on your show. Thank you so much, Drina. Yeah,
Absolutely. Talk
love
to
you
you
so
soon.
much.
Love you. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, as you guys can see, that was Miss Carla. She is amazing. I'm so glad that she could come by and share that with us. I asked her, I said, can you please come and share some knowledge because we need to know. We need to know. I mean, inform. That's one of the key things of the show. Inform, inspire, motivate, and that's definitely so we all know. Especially the part of my husband saying, "Do they need to smack you so many times?" I never knew that, and sticking you more than twice. Wow, that's valuable, good information. So, you guys, I'm gonna bring on my next guest. My next guest, he is so busy. He is away. Filming and doing his thing. So I had to go and do a pre recording with him. So my next guest is Mr. Mike Merrill. This is, like I said, is a pre-recorded interview. He is a stand-up comedian and television writer who has created and headlined his own international comedy tour. He's performed on television, released his own 1 hour comedy special, and is focused on building artistic centric entertainment. So, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and share this interview that I did with him. So you guys, we're gonna go ahead and cue this up so you guys can enjoy this interview. I thought it was really interesting. So let me go over here and cue it up. So, Mike, thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk. I'm so honored that you are here. Just excited being a being a comedian coming on the show. Oh my goodness. So you stand, I ask all my guests this, are you washing hands, wearing a mask, standing 6 feet apart out there in Cali?
Yeah, washing hands, wearing a mask. I'm staying away from everybody. I don't even like for people to look at me too long because I don't know. They talk about the cough and the spit, but I'm like, nah, some of y'all got some weird eyes. And I don't know if you catching COVID from the eyes, so stay away from me. Back up off.
That's right. Get up off me. I know that's right. Crazy out here. Oh my goodness. So you are a comedian. How did you decide that you want to go on stage and tell jokes? How did that all come about, sir?
I guess because I'm funny, that's how it started. But it really wasn't a conscious decision. I feel like everybody is born with a natural gift, whether it's singing, whether it's being able to cook food, whatever the case is. Everybody in the world has a gift. And you have something like that inside you. It just kind of over time, the natural skills or whatever you're born with come out and you find your home, which for comedians is a comedy club. And it really just kind of develops like that. But it's really not conscious. I always love to laugh, make people laugh and do those sorts of things. So something that just kind of developed over time.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. And so growing up, did your mom or your family and your friends say, man, you should tell jokes? They just push you out there?
Yeah, more my friends, though. I didn't really tell my mom because my mom, she's from the South. She grew up in a different era. So it was all about education, go to school, get your degree, that kind of thing. And then, if you're a comedian, for a lot of people, they're like, you a clown? What you, so you wear the nose with a little hump. You do that. That's what you do for a living. You go do that to make money. So, a different generation of Black people I wouldn't talk to about what I was doing. I told some of my friends, but really even then it was something that I didn't talk about until later. Maybe in my early 20s is when I started telling people that I was doing stand-up. But initially that was just my own personal thing. I would go to the clubs and my friends outside of comedy didn't know until later. Then I told them, and then eventually I told my mom.
Wow, that is such a cool story to just know you have that special gift, right? Especially during the pandemic, everybody, I won't say everybody, some people are depressed, they lost loved ones, and just to be able to laugh and release, it's healthy. And just so just thankful for people like you to make us laugh during these down times. It's amazing.
Thank you, I appreciate that, yeah. Yeah.
What's the most important aspects of stand-up comedy? Like, how do you piece it all together when you're up there?
There's a few aspects I think people need to have within them if they're going to get into stand-up comedy. So I think obviously a sense of humor helps. If you have parties and nobody's ever told you make them laugh, or maybe that's not the thing for you. And especially in LA, a lot of people get into comedy so that they can get into acting. And that's not, true comedians don't really see it that way. So it's got to be something, one, that's within you. But when I talk about the three most important aspects of comedy, really what I'm talking about is having an ability to write, having an ability to ad lib, and having an ability to perform. And so those are the three kind of elements of stand-up that I think make any great stand-up comedian. Got to be able to write your material. Performance is what people see or what they hear from you when you're on stage. And then your ability to ad lib is just being able to go with stuff that's unplanned and not, go with the flow really and add that into what you're talking about. So.
Wow, definitely be able to just shoot from the hip and just go with it, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, goodness, that's an awesome gift to have. Wow, to be able to find something funny, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is. Stand up for me doesn't really originate. It comes from just what I see and what I feel around me. And it's not even always appropriate. I've thought of funny stuff at funerals, people tell me they're getting divorced, seeing somebody trip and fall, like all those spark moments of comedy. And sometimes it comes later, but there's not really anything that doesn't have some element of comedy that you can add to it. Maybe not in the moment, but eventually you can add elements of comedy to anything, I think. And so that's part of what we talk about when we say the gift is just those things kind of come to you. And then the way that I decide what I'm going to talk about on stage is what sparks something for me emotionally. Is it something that I think is important or valuable? I'll talk about that. Is it something that I think is unique and that I don't hear other comics talking about a lot? And I'll do that. So that's kind of the way that I go about it.
That's awesome to stand out from the rest and be different. Absolutely. I love that. That.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what do you love most about stand-up comedy? Is it just being able to just be quick on your toes and tell a joke, or?
I think it's the freedom. I'm somebody I'm an only child. And so there's a couple things about it. One is the freedom. You go up on stage, you're on stage alone. There's no band like in music. You're not playing a sport with a team. I think part of that is because I'm an only child. And so there's elements of not having any siblings where, I kind of like that. I like my alone time. I like thinking to myself, and being on stage gives me that opportunity to kind of, be somewhere where I'm performing and by myself. So I actually forgot what you asked me, but
what do you like most about stand-up comedy?
Yeah, right. So it's that. So I think it's the being able to kind of perform on your own, and you're kind of responsible for what you say and what you do. And I love that accountability. And then the freedom of just being able to kind of go anywhere with anything. You're not really confined. You can talk about any sort of subject matter. And so I think those two things are just the freedom, and it's the fact that it's me on a stage, myself doing my thing.
You're right. I love it. In terms of, I can, understand a little bit what you're saying, because you don't have to disagree with somebody else or agree. It's what you want, how you want to do it. And I can relate from having a podcast, just being able to do what I want to do. You're right. That's awesome. That freedom.
Yeah.
About these stories about these entertainers and groups and, different things, and they're fighting and they didn't get along. So that's a good point.
And if something don't work, you can't blame other, hey, it's your fault. No, it's my fault. It's all on you if it don't work. So, it's accountability. I mean, I like that,
Right. Absolutely. That's so cool. That is so cool. So, I talk about why you independently produce your 3 comedy specials. What made you just get out there and just do them yourself?
So part of being in this industry of comedy, show business, is that probably since, at least the 1960s, it's been a similar pattern for comedians and artists. The 1960s until probably about the late 1990s, of where comedians would perform in clubs, and then someone from television would see them, and then that person would say, come perform on the Tonight Show, or let's develop a show around you. And so that was the way forward for comedians. The problem with that is it kind of created a crutch. And so the expectation for generation upon generation of comedian was that somebody else would see them and then create something for them. But the problem with that is if somebody can hire you, somebody can fire you. And the other problem with it is that you don't own anything really. You own your name in some cases, but even then people don't always own their name. So I love doing stand-up. You know, I didn't want people to be able to tell me when I could sell something or how much I could charge for it. And so that started me into doing my first comedy special. And actually the first two, so the technology was different. The first one that I did, there was internet, but it wasn't a big internet presence kind of thing like that. So we were still selling them through DVDs and things like that. The second one that I did, technology was a little bit more developed. And so like I could download that onto like a drive or a hard drive and try to sell it that way. But it still wasn't what it is now. So the last one that I did was recently. And so the technology is what it is now. And so there's a whole bunch of other tools that allow you to kind of promote it. And so the importance of the two that led to this one, and eventually when I do a fourth one, is that there's a lot of stumbles and mistakes that you make along the way that kind of teach you about ways to get smarter and better about promoting yourself, about earning your own income, not just revenue, but income, you know, how to work with a crew and how to hire a crew, selecting venues, like all these sorts of things that you're learning. And you don't have to outsource that knowledge to some other company for them to take a cut, because anybody you outsource and anything to anybody, they're taking a cut of that, whether it's because they're providing money for you or infrastructure or whatever. So that's a long answer, but that's why I did my 3 comedy specials.
That's awesome. So within that, you're an entrepreneur as well, because you can control your own destiny. I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because, you know, I didn't think about all of that in terms of being able to sell merchandise and control how much. And I didn't know about the name part. Wow.
Yeah. And it's obviously it's a lot slower going because, you know, if you take like some cable network, like a premium cable network who has a name and they're established and they've been producing stand-up comedy specials for years, obviously people know about that network, and so they just tune to that station when they want to see something. And so they have that established. That's their advantage. And so you have to be patient in creating your own name and your own advantage and understand that it takes time to get there. But the thing that you're gaining from that, again, is your own control, your own name and your own money.
Wow, that's so cool. I love it. That's so cool. And, you know, just to know what to do and how to control your own destiny, that in itself is amazing. You don't have to worry about anybody saying you can or you can't.
Right.
Awesome. Oh, my goodness. So talk about, you talked about creating things. So what about artists creating and owning income from their own content? I think you talked about it a little bit in terms of your merchandise. Is there other areas that you can make money from owning your own content?
Yeah, so there's a lot of online platforms that are kind of developing that allow people with any sort of skill to be able to put their content or their skill or whatever they do up online, and then basically have fans come to them and pay them for that content. So that's a new thing that's coming along. But even within those platforms, I think that's still a middleman to a certain degree. It's less of than it used to be. So it's giving people more of a direct one-on-one connection with their fans. But there's still somebody else saying, come to our website where we take a cut of what these artists are doing based on their talent and their skill. Mm-hmm. So there's still a little bit of a middleman there. And obviously that works for some people. Some people make a lot of money doing that, and it's enough control for them and they're fine. But I just encourage people to try to, in addition to doing things like that, so it's baby steps. You know, you go from not controlling much to controlling a little bit more on these platforms to, you know, some people who are doing what I'm doing, which is, you know, trying to own and control all of your own stuff, but just realizing that takes a lot longer, a lot more patience, and a lot more investment of your own personal resources.
But at the end, the reward is huge. You know, I can relate to that starting with podcasts and my books, you know. Yeah, you know, maybe you're getting there, but at the end, it's all yours, right? That's
yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, and it's, you know, as you know, it's a certain type of mentality that goes into that. everybody's not cut out for that, because it's not just your talent, it's not just the ability that you have, but you also have to have a long-standing faith in your own ability and that you're going to get there. You have to have determination, because I tell a lot of people this, there's 1,000 no's to every yes. Mm-hmm. And so the mentality, I think, is almost on par with the talent as far as what you need to have to be able to do that. Because if you don't have the mentality, you're not going to be able to get through it. And even as I say that, like, there's ups and downs. I have family that, that supports me and that I talk to. And I spend my time kind of away from some of this sometimes when I need to kind of relax and chill my mind out so I can get refocused and revamped.
Absolutely. That is so true. That's great that you're doing that. So what would you tell like a young millennial or somebody that just wants to get into the game? What's the first advice that you would tell them to help prepare them to get into the comedy?
I would say if you're going to get into comedy and it's something that you want to do for a living, you have to love it. You have to have some talent for it, but you also have to love it. Because if you don't love it, you won't be able to sustain yourself in it. It's just something that, no matter whether you're somebody who hits quickly, and what I mean by that is, the industry or whoever discovers you quickly, or whether you're somebody who takes longer, it doesn't matter. Everybody has their own challenges and things that they have to learn. And so regardless of whether it's a quick hit or whether it's a longer thing, you have to love it. And then I would just say, be original. Your own experiences, your own thoughts are the best source of material. You don't need to use other people's material. You don't need to use things that are really kind of cliche. A lot of people kind of just do cliche. You can even hear it in the cadence of their voices. They try to sound like other comics. And so, originality is important, and just the repetitions, getting up as much as possible,
Yeah. Wow. That is some excellent advice. Because you're right. There's certain comedians you can hear these. Didn't such and such just tell that joke? So you're right. Be original. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So all your years of experience being in the game, share with us a funny experience that you had with doing stand-up. I'm sure you got some wild stories, but
yeah. I think one is probably is what I tell people is probably my best and worst experience in comedy at the same time. So I did a show. It was the first time I did a show for 1,000 people, and it was at the college that I went to. And so they were having a big Black conference where all the schools from the surrounding states send Black students, and we have come like this Black week, basically. Or actually, it was a weekend where there's like step shows and there's a comedy show. So I did the comedy show. This was after I graduated. So I came back, and I had a few years in comedy, and I was feeling good. I was like, yeah, this is going to be dope. I'm going to kill it, And then, so I started off. First problem was the mic was kind of messed up. And so people couldn't really hear me. And so like a Black crowd ain't going to give you too much time to be sitting up there like, hey, wait a minute, it's the mic, and they didn't, the sound check ain't right, it's not me. So, and so like, when Black people, so first off, there's like, oh, okay, this dude don't know what he's doing. That's the first part. Then when we boo you, it's like a wind. It's almost like a tornado style wind, where you have to ground yourself so that you don't get whooshed away. And Black people don't boo. It's not a polite boo. It's not a like, oh, we don't. It's a whoosh. It's a wind. So that was that experience. But then, so I came back to do 2 shows for that. So I was supposed to host the opening night and do a little comedy on the opening night. And then there was a step show the next night. And so when you have that experience where you get whooshed like that, it takes a lot for you to say, the next night I'm going to come back and do my thing. So I had to get to my hotel room. I was by myself, just chilling out, thinking about, okay, what could I have done? What went wrong? And then you kind of just calm all that down. You get back to, hey, look, this is my gift. This is what I do. things like that are going to happen. And so I hosted the step show the next night, crushed that. And so the thing that I got from that is, you know, things are momentary, but you're in this for the long term. And stick with your gift, you know, stick with your gift. Nobody can really take you off the spot. And so it actually made me stronger in comedy. I don't really get distracted when I'm on stage by things. It's a focus. I'm there to perform my material and do my show. And it just taught me appreciation for it.
I love it. Oh my God, that's a great story because you're right. You know, that's one thing about our people. They will boo you. They will back. Sometimes you got to bump your head, right, to say, okay, I'm going to come back stronger. And so, you know, from my perspective, doing podcasts, I can totally relate. I'm not a comedian, but I can totally relate to a show going left. You're like, oh, that's okay. Next time I'm bringing it.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, it was people like, give me my money back, and the show was free. They're like, you didn't even pay to get in here. What you talking about? No, we don't play.
That's right. That's hilarious. So before I let you go, just one more word of advice. What are some of the don'ts that you would tell anybody that wants to get in comedy? What are some of the things do not do?
I mean, I guess it kind of goes back to like some of the advice that I gave. You know, I would say, you know, write as much as possible. You know, what we used to do is we would write on like bar napkins, just ideas. I don't know if people do that as much, but when something strikes you as funny, write it down.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what situation is in. I have a little erasable, like a board, almost like a whiteboard that I keep in my shower. So I'm always writing down stuff. Doesn't matter where I am, putting it in my cell phone, you know, on my computer, in the shower. If I think of something when I'm going to sleep, I'll get up. It was too many times where when I was younger, I would say, that's all right. I'll remember it in the morning. And my stand-up is too valuable to me to be trying to hope that I remember an idea, you know. And I put it in the perspective of saying, you know, you could be costing yourself $1 million because you wanted to get 5 extra minutes of sleep. So I write down everything. So that would be, I guess that's not a don't. Don't not do that. Make sure you write.
Oh my God. Yeah. I love that. You're right. Just something that you totally, you're right. That can blow up. So that's oh my gosh. Well, this has been great, Mike. I thank you so much for coming on. I feel honored that you came on Let's Talk. My show is, you know, I'm the little, what you call the little train that would. I wish it would blow up overnight, but it's growing. I'm very happy and I'm so grateful that you came on. And I'm going to take a lot of your advice. I'm not a comedian, but I'm going to take some of that advice, definitely.
We all learn from each other, but I appreciate you having me. You know, you say that as little, but, you know, you putting in the work and it's going to be something special. So we know that.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk. And I would love to have you come on whenever you're available to tell some jokes. And so we definitely got to stay in touch.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. So there you guys have it, Mr. Mike Merrill. He's hilarious. I want to show you guys a tidbit of his stand-up, about 2 minutes worth. So you guys can check him out. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can watch this. Okay.
Most shocking thing I saw when I was in Indonesia, I saw one black person in Jakarta. We were both so surprised to see each other. That for a second, we both thought we were looking at our own reflections. I was like, she was like, really, a long-term relationship is really just about having somebody to take you to the hospital if you fall down. That's really what it boils down to. Because you don't want to be the old lady in that Life Alert commercial just by herself on the floor, pushing the thing, help! Nobody gives a shit. Like, you should have treated people better. I don't know what to tell you. No shocking
So there
thing.
you guys have it. Mr. Mike Merrill. He is funny, very talented guy. So I'm so honored that he was able to come on. So as we end out the show, I definitely want to thank a phlebotomist and instructor, Carla Burney, for coming on. Mike Merrill, comedian, executive producer. Again, I thank them so much for coming on. Again, I like to bring on folks that are going to fall within the shows. What we're striving for, to inform, inspire, and motivate. So thank you guys for coming on. So as we close out the show, I always like to leave you with some positive words, if you will. So I saw this, and again, it said unknown, but I thought it was awesome. It said, be the reason someone feels welcomed, seen, heard, valued, loved, and supported. Be the reason someone feels welcome, seen, heard, valued, loved, and supported. So just definitely put a smile on somebody's face, tell a joke, make them feel good, just whatever it takes, because I'm a strong, believer in that. The energy that you put out, it comes back. So definitely do that. And as I tell you guys every single week, do one good thing for one person each day, and you can affect 365 lives. So you guys definitely do that. Stay safe out there. I know the country is, getting somewhat back to normal. It is such a great feeling to see that, the vaccinations, and we can go in certain settings without a mask, and some settings you definitely want to wear your mask, but it's just a good feeling that we're not all stuck in the house anymore. So you guys be safe out there. And if no one has told you that they love you, know that I love you. And with that, I'm out.